Las Vegas, the city of sin, a neon paradise where fortunes are won and lost in the blink of an eye. But beneath the flashing lights and dazzling casinos lies a history built on deception, crime, and a little bit of luck, just not the kind you'd want to test at a blackjack table. See, Vegas didn't just appear out of nowhere. Back in the early 1900s, it was nothing more than a dusty pit stop in the Nevada desert, far removed from the bustling cities of New York and Chicago. No one could have imagined it would one day become the gambling capital of the world. But what if I told you that the very foundation of this city was laid by some of the most notorious figures in organized crime? Yep, while we often think of the Prohibition era and mob activity as belonging to cities like Chicago or New York, Vegas wouldn't be what it is today without a few shady characters pulling the strings behind the scenes. The Chicago connection now. To understand how organized crime infiltrated Vegas, we have to go back to mid-century Chicago. The mob was already well established, running everything from extortion rackets to underground gambling operations. But by the 1960s, law enforcement was cracking down hard. So, where do you go when the heat is on? Somewhere where gambling is actually legal, Vegas. And that's where our story takes a turn. One key figure in this underworld expansion was a man known for his sports betting expertise. He wasn't a made man, meaning he wasn't officially part of the mob, but his mathematical genius made him a valuable asset. He grew up on Chicago's rough West Side and quickly developed a gift for picking winners. And let's be real, when you can turn a profit, no one cares about your official title. The Chicago outfit saw his potential and put him in charge of perfecting their illegal gambling operations. That was his ticket out of Chicago and straight into the heart of Vegas, where he would go on to influence the casino world in ways no one expected. But he wasn't alone. Enter the enforcer standing at just 5 feet 2 inches. Another key player in this story may not have looked intimidating, but what he lacked in height, he made up for in sheer brutality. He was the muscle of the operation, a man who got things done, no matter what it took. By the 1950s, he had already built a reputation as one of Chicago's most ruthless enforcers, running extortion rings, planning heists, and making sure no one stepped out of line. And when the Chicago outfit needed a tough guy in Vegas, he was more than happy to pack his bags. By the 1960s, both men had set their sights on the Strip, where the real money was to be made. And while Vegas may have looked like a glitzy playground, behind the scenes, the mob was pulling the strings, rigging games, skimming money from casino profits, and making sure anyone who got in their way disappeared permanently. The rise and fall. As the years passed, their influence only grew. The gambling expert quickly became a major force in Vegas, revolutionizing the way sports betting was handled. He even managed to run multiple casinos without ever holding an official gaming license. How? By being the brains behind the operation while letting someone else be the public face. By the 1970s, the FBI was catching on. Investigators began looking into the hidden connections between Vegas casinos and the Chicago outfit. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more chaotic, everything took a deadly turn. But one thing was clear: someone wanted him dead. The end of an era. Around the same time, his marriage was falling apart. His wife, a Vegas showgirl, struggled with addiction, and their once glamorous life spiraled into tragedy. Shortly after the assassination attempt, she was found dead under suspicious circumstances. If Las Vegas had once been a fresh start, it had now become a nightmare. Meanwhile, the enforcers' violent ways had drawn too much attention. The law was closing in, and the Chicago outfit was growing tired of the negative publicity. The golden age of mob-run Vegas was coming to an end. With federal investigations ramping up, authorities finally had enough evidence to take down the key players. The gambling mastermind, though never officially convicted, was permanently banned from Nevada's gaming industry. From mafia playground to corporate empire, crime families, especially the infamous Chicago outfit, controlled many of the city's biggest casinos, skimming millions off the top before the government ever saw a dime. It was a place where money laundering, strong-arm tactics, and underground dealings weren't just common. They were the foundation of the city's success. But everything changed. As the FBI cracked down on organized crime, corporations swooped in, buying up aging mob-run casinos and replacing them with billion-dollar mega-resorts. These new hotels and casinos didn't rely on hidden mob money. Instead, they operated under corporate profit models, strict regulations, and a market-driven hospitality industry. The old ways, intimidation, skimming, and backdoor payoffs, were replaced by marketing campaigns, family-friendly attractions, and Wall Street investors. The men who built and destroyed Vegas. The gambler was a master of the casino business. He knew every trick in the book, from how to pace a blackjack table to which showgirls to feature on the main stage. His ability to read people made him a fortune, but it also made him enemies. He wasn't a typical mobster. He was a businessman who understood the numbers, and he made Vegas casinos more profitable than ever before. Then there was the enforcer, a man who lived and breathed the mafia lifestyle. Raised in a rough neighborhood and groomed by seasoned criminals, he climbed the ranks from petty theft to murder, eventually running entire crews of professional thieves. At first, the two men made an unstoppable duo. The gambler controlled the money, and the enforcer protected the operation. But like all crime partnerships, greed, ego, and paranoia eventually tore them apart. When the gambler's wife briefly left him, only to meet a tragic end later, rumors swirled that the enforcer had played a role. The FBI cracks down the government had been watching. For years, the FBI had been gathering evidence. They exposed the skimming racket, where millions of dollars were siphoned off casino profits before ever being reported. Hidden cameras, caretaker accountants, and falsified ledgers all played a role in funneling money straight into the hands of mob bosses back in Chicago and other cities. When federal agents made their move, the enforcer's empire collapsed. The gambler, on the other hand, managed to escape prison. He played his cards carefully, never admitting anything, using legal loopholes, and making the right alliances at the right time. He lived the rest of his life in quiet exile, a rare survivor of an era that swallowed nearly everyone else whole. The legacy of Vegas mob era. The fall of organized crime in Las Vegas paved the way for what we see today. Some say if you wander certain hallways late at night, you can still hear echoes of the past, of men who once controlled this city with an iron grip. Hollywood has since immortalized this story in countless movies, fueling a fascination with the era of mob-run Vegas. But those who lived it will tell you that the real thing was far more dangerous, far more secretive, and far more terrifying than anything you've seen on screen. Vegas may have reinvented itself, but its foundation was built on risk, and for a time, those risks weren't just about rolling the dice. They were about life and death. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.